Bombshell story which could signal the start of the end of Keir Starmer's government. This weekend could see the Prime Minister attend his last ever Labour conference, because tonight the Prime Minister is facing questions over his tax situation. Sunday Times journalist Gabriel Pogrund and tax expert Dan Needle have teased what sounds like to me a massive story in which they claim the Prime Minister, Sir Keir Starmer, avoided paying inheritance tax when he gave lands to his parents. All right for some, eh? Now they say Number 10 is yet to respond to these allegations, but GB News has approached Downing Street for comment too. Whilst that's coming, all the detail is going to be coming imminently over the next 2 hours.
This is nothing short of a political earthquake. A story breaking tonight that could spell the beginning of the end for Prime Minister Keir Starmer's government. In just a few hours, the Labour Party is set to open its annual conference, the stage where the Prime Minister would normally command the spotlight, presenting himself as the confident leader of a united party. But instead, he may find himself cornered, forced to answer devastating questions about his own personal finances. Because tonight, the Sunday Times is preparing to drop what could be one of the most damaging revelations of Starmer's career. Two names stand at the center of this looming firestorm: investigative journalist Gabriel Pogrund and respected tax lawyer Dan Needle. Together, they are hinting at evidence that Starmer may have quietly dodged inheritance tax when transferring family land to his parents. Think about that for a moment. The man who lectures the nation on fairness, the man who has attacked farmers and landowners over what he calls loopholes, may have been using one himself. Downing Street, as of this moment, has refused to give any clear answers. Journalists, including those at GB News, have pressed Number 10 for a statement, but silence is all that's been offered. The official line is, wait for the details. And those details are expected imminently, possibly within hours. Now, remember the timing here. This bombshell comes just days after Starmer's former deputy, Angela Rayner, was forced to step down over her own tax scandal. She was caught out, accused of exploiting property loopholes and failing to pay what was due. So here's the question: is history about to repeat itself? Could the Prime Minister, the man at the very top, now face the same fate? Let's not forget, this is only the latest in a chain of scandals that have dogged Starmer's government in recent months. From Lord Ali's resignation under a cloud of controversy, to the exposure of Labour's ties with disgraced figures like Jeffrey Epstein's circle, each episode has chipped away at his once solid image. And yet, until now, Starmer has been called the Teflon Prime Minister. Scandal after scandal slid off him, leaving his leadership intact. But inheritance tax? That is different. This hits people at home. Especially farmers. Across the country, countless families have struggled under the crushing weight of inheritance duties, some losing land, some even losing their lives in despair. There are documented cases of farmers taking their own lives over the burden. For them, tax is not an abstract policy debate, it is survival. So imagine the fury if it turns out the Prime Minister himself found a way around those very rules. Legal or not, the moral charge of hypocrisy could be lethal. Already, political insiders are whispering, could this be the scandal that finally breaks him? Tonight's Sunday Times preview gives us chilling hints of what's to come. A tweet from Pogrund reads, quote, "Did Keir Starmer transfer land to his parents via a trust, making himself a beneficiary, thereby ensuring inheritance tax would never be paid on its eventual value?" Legal experts say the answer is yes. Number 10 has failed to answer simple questions for weeks. That is not some wild internet rumor. That is a serious allegation from the country's leading political journalists. And the silence from Downing Street only deepens the suspicion. Now, here's the bigger picture. Starmer is already facing mounting pressure from inside his own party. Andy Burnham waits in the wings. Sadiq Khan is said to be considering his future ambitions. And the ever-present shadow of Nigel Farage and Reform UK is striking fear across Labour's ranks. In fact, Starmer gave an interview just this weekend warning that reform is not merely a challenge for Labour, but for the entire establishment. Almost as if he was begging the political elite to rally behind him, to protect him from a surging populist wave. But what happens if the establishment itself loses faith? Internationally, the stakes are just as high. Washington is watching closely. American analysts note that, for now, Starmer enjoys a warm relationship with President Donald Trump. The two men have maintained the so-called special relationship without public clashes. But if Starmer's premiership implodes, who steps into that role? And what does it mean for Britain's standing on the global stage? Lee Cohen, a former advisor on UK affairs to the US Congress, didn't mince his words. He called this potential scandal a nuclear bomb for Starmer's leadership. His assessment, if true, this would confirm what many already suspect, that Labour's top ranks are riddled with hypocrisy. Cohen went further, warning that Britain risks looking like a government in chaos, led by a prime minister who has lost both moral authority and political control. And here's the kicker: public trust in Starmer is already at historic lows. Poll after poll shows his approval ratings sliding into the abyss. The Telegraph just this week described him as having unprecedentedly low ratings for a sitting prime minister. So let's put this together. A looming tax scandal. A deputy forced to resign in disgrace. A party riven with rivals ready to pounce. And a public increasingly convinced they cannot trust the man in number 10. Is this the moment the Teflon coating finally cracks? That's what we'll know very soon, once the full Sunday Times report lands. But make no mistake, this weekend could go down as the turning point. Either Keir Starmer weathers the storm once again, or Britain witnesses the dramatic collapse of his premiership. And if the latter happens, the question isn't just when he goes, but who replaces him and whether Labour itself can survive the fallout. So buckle up, because the next few hours could reshape the entire landscape of British politics. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth political commentary, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next deep dive into the world of power and politics. Thanks for watching.